Hello my friends, and welcome back to Slay the Spire 2. Hope you're all doing well. Today we're playing the Ironclad, who I haven't played on this channel previously, mostly because I just haven't played the Ironclad that much. Before the last patch, I really didn't enjoy this character very much because you just ended up going for an infinite loop every single time. But after the most recent patch, I think the Ironclad is a really fun design now, and I've really been enjoying climbing Ascension levels. As you can see, I'm still on Ascension 9 as I learn the character, so let's jump in. We're doing my first Ascension 9 run with the Ironclad, and we can all learn it together. So, I am looking at these Niao buffs. So obviously the Golden Pearl is an incredibly strong buff in general. It's basically a free card removal and like half an extra card, something along those lines. I'm not a big fan of Niao's Fury. I think that this is just not an impactful enough buff, or impactful enough card to make just adding one card to your deck particularly strong for your Ancient buff. The large capsule, 2 random relics, of course, can be very strong if you get really good relics here. Now, adding an extra strike and defend to your deck is a pretty big penalty, but on the Ironclad, adding extra cards to your deck, I think, is less of a problem now that it's not just an infinite combo merchant. Is less of a problem than for most other characters, because this character will often end up with a lot of cards that do kind of similar things, and so having a really large deck, it doesn't matter that much if you're just drawing, if one of your cards is more or less like the others, it doesn't matter as much how big your deck is compared to other characters. That being said, I think we're almost certainly going to take Golden Pearl, because it's just a very strong setup. Let's look at the map here. And one other thing about the Ironclad is, normally at this point I say, you're always trying to avoid these hallway fights in Slay the Spire 2. The Ironclad, that's less true, because the main downside of the hallway fights is they're very difficult, so you're guaranteed to take damage after your first 3, when they start showing up from the harder pool of enemies. But because the Ironclad can heal, and is a little better at burning down some of the more dangerous enemies in the game with its very high damage, you can take more fights than most other characters without it being a problem. So the pathing, I think, is a little bit different for this character. That being said, I kind of like this path. It gives us the opportunity to go to a campsite if we need it. We get 3 fights here. We do get one more either side this direction, and then we have the opportunity of going for a campfire and one more fight before going to the end here. Getting an early shop is good if we're taking Golden Pearl, of course. Another option is I could take this path, and then this is also a fairly ideal path. 3 fights, 1 shop, then we do an elite, and then we go here, and I can either, if I'm feeling strong, go take another elite fight. It does lead to 2 more fights, but this is less of a problem for the Ironclad than for other characters, like I just talked about. So I think of these, I like the right-hand path here slightly more. It commits me to 1 more hallway fight, but that's less of a downside, and it gives us an earlier shop, so it can give us some direction for the deck, and so on. We'll take the extra gold here, and let's get going. So against the Shrinker Beetle, we're going to go ahead and do Bash Strike. Getting the Bash out on the first turn is pretty nice here. We'll always be doing that. I guess we can probably just play Double Block. Although you heal on the Ironclad, you still do want to avoid taking too much damage, because then you get more value from your healing, though here we're always taking at least 4. And then I'm 1 short of being able to, or I'm short of being able to kill it, and unfortunately got a slightly bad draw there. I probably could have optimized that fight a little better to take less damage. Definitely, maybe if I had taken the 2 instead of just blocking on the previous turn, then we'd have been in better shape, but not a big deal either way. Here, there's a couple options. I like Tremble a reasonable amount. The Ironclad always wants to apply Vulnerable. It's one of the things that you do the best on this character. Sword Boomerang works very well if you have extra ways to generate strength, so cards like Inflame work very well with Sword Boomerang, but it is, at base, 1 energy for 9 damage, which isn't an incredible ratio, so you do need strength to make use of it. Anger can be very good. If you have lots of ways to draw cards, then you can draw through multiple angers and play a bunch of them in one turn. I think here I'm going to take Tremble, though. I'm always happy to have one of those in the deck, and it lets us potentially build into the vulnerability stuff, which I really like. All right, so we're looking at a few of the what I think are the best cards for this character. Bloodletting is, of course, incredibly important for the Ironclad, and this is the best way to turn Burning Blood into an advantage, is getting extra energy, which you can then spend on Whirlwind. You can cast more expensive cards, of course. And because the Ironclad actually has a few ways to draw cards pretty easily, you can make use of the extra energy from Bloodletting reasonably well. Shrug It Off is your best way to get block, which this character can struggle with. So although it's not the most efficient card, you're still usually going to pick up the first one that you see. Rampage I don't mind, especially if you have a lot of ways to draw. You can cycle through Rampage multiple times and get a lot of extra damage. I think what we're going to do here is... an Ornamental Fan is also very much worth mentioning for this character, because you will often play 3 attacks in a turn. Kusari Gamma I don't like as much as Ornamental Fan. And Kifuda we could pick up, like I could buy Shrug It Off and then take it to add 3 more block. This character does struggle to generate block, so that could be an easy way to do that. And of course it would basically upgrade 2 of my defends as well. I think I might end up doing that, buying the Shrug It Off and then buying the Kifuda. Because then I can pick up... I can't get the Bloodletting as well. And I do want Bloodletting. I also would like to remove a card, of course. This is actually a really interesting shop. I think there's a lot of different directions that you could go here. But let's make sure that we've got enough blocks. So we're going to buy Shrug It Off, and we'll buy this, and then we will enchant these. I could add the 3 block to other cards, like we could put it on Tremble or something, but just making sure that our blocking cards are as strong as possible makes the most sense. Now, do I want Rampage? I could buy a Rampage. This is a good way to add additional damage to your deck for the early game and let you get through elite fights a little better. So I think we will take it. It's in the family of Strike Plus cards, where it's just like an upgraded Strike, 1 energy for 9 damage, but with a little bonus, and you usually want one of those to make early fights easier. Alright, so here, we're pretty happy that we have our Rampage, because we can kill the Twig Slime, and then upgrade Rampage as well. And then this turn, I could play... I'm gonna take some damage no matter what I do. So, what's the most efficient way to do this? We could do Strike, Strike, Defend, Bash, Defend. I guess it doesn't really matter, because no matter what I'm doing, I'm killing the Leaf Slime and playing a Defend and taking 4. And then here, I guess we'll play Shrug It Off, and then I can play Bash. It's a little better than Double Strike, because the Vulnerable should be enough damage next turn that it helps out, although drawing 3 Slimes here is pretty bad, but we can then go 21 damage, because we drew our Rampage and kill it, and we're still health positive on that fight. We'll take the Lucky Tonic, not bad for an early elite, and then let's see what we've got here. I actually really like Howl from Beyond. If you get ways to exhaust cards, which the Ironclad has, this is a pretty powerful spell that you can play for free. It's kind of like Sly from the Silent, but it uses exhaust instead of discard in order to trigger it. So I think I will take Howl from Beyond. Bloodwall is also totally fine. It costs you 2 HP, but you're never going to play it unless you're getting more than 2 HP back. But building into the exhaust deck, I think, is what I'm most interested in doing here, so I'm going to take the card that goes with it. And the thing about Howl from Beyond is there's plenty of fights where it's fine to just play it, too. Here, it's pretty bad, so I'm just going to play the Vulnerable, and we'll block all this damage. 7 incoming damage here, but we have our Shrug It Off to block, and then we can play our 2 strikes. Here, we get to go Bash and Rampage. And then hopefully we draw enough damage that we can kill the Nibbit, and we did. So a pretty perfect fight there. Dominate, so a couple really strong cards here. Both Pillage and Dominate are pretty good. Pillage works very well if you have a lot of attacks in your deck. Currently, it doesn't look like we're building that because we have Shrug It Off, we have Tremble, so we've added a couple non-attack cards already. But Dominate, I think, since it got buffed, is actually really strong, and we already have a vulnerability sub-theme, so we're going to go ahead and add that. Now, although the Ironclad doesn't mind taking fights, I do want to at least take one event. We might get something good. I really dislike adding the spoils map to my deck. On this character, especially this early in the act, we're going to take a lot of extra damage from the spoils map. Now, it does, of course, give you 600 extra gold, but it's very easy to just lose as a result of having this, so we're just going to go ahead and take 8 damage and grab our potion here. At the campsite, we can upgrade, and we have a few upgrades. Dominate upgrades to basically be +2 strength and 2 turns of vulnerable, which is great. Howl from Beyond is extra damage, which we don't currently have an easy way to trigger it, so it's not amazing here. Rampage increases the damage by significantly more as you cycle through, which is really nice. Bash is an extra turn of vulnerable, and Tremble also an extra turn of vulnerable. Either of those I'd be happy to upgrade, but I think we're going to upgrade Dominate. It gives us 1 more turn of vulnerable and an extra strength for just 1 energy. And then I believe we're strong enough, and part of why we didn't take Spoils map is we want to fight this elite, and we should be strong enough to fight it here. Alright, so I might use my Lucky Tonic, because we can prevent 19 damage, not have to play a defend this turn. So yeah, we're definitely using the Lucky Tonic here. And then we can go Tremble, we can go Rampage, and we can go Strike. And we take 0 thanks to having the buffer. This turn, I can use Touch of Insanity on Howl from Beyond if I want to. That does give us a pretty cheap damaging option. I'm always going to be playing Dominate, because we get 4 strength that way. And then we can deal 15, 15, and it would be 30. So that would be 60 damage if I use the Touch of Insanity and play both strikes. I think I will... when's our next elite fight? Touch of Insanity, of course, is a very strong potion, but I think it will save us enough health here that I'm just going to use it, and we'll play our Howl from Beyond for free, and put the enemy down to 23. One of the great things about fighting the Burdonis is that marginal improvements to your deck actually help a lot against this enemy. There are some elites where just small improvements to your deck don't really matter because they require you to have a specific thing. So for example, the enemy that blocks all but 15 damage just requires you to, which I'm blanking on the name of right now, but it can only take 15 damage per turn, so it requires you to have a lot of block in your deck in order to not take damage from it. Adding more attacks and just making your deck generically stronger doesn't help against that. But because the Burdonis is just a big brick of hit points, any improvements to your deck make your deck a lot better against it. Alright, Ashen Strike can be pretty good as well if we're going for the Exhaust deck. It is just an upgraded strike, so it's not super amazing. Stomp, we don't have enough, I think, ability to play a lot of cheap attacks to make Stomp good. Second Rampage I don't really love. You just want to draw into your 1 Rampage over and over again, so I think I'm going to skip on all 3 of these cards. A little disappointing there, but we have more important things to try to add. Alright, 2 random potions is pretty good, because we have no potions, and I am going to go into another elite fight either direction that I take here, but transforming one of our strikes is going to be really valuable. There's lots of really powerful cards that we could hit on the Ironclad. Now, I do in general think for the Ironclad that transforms are a little worse than for other characters, because you have a lot of the Ironclad, I think, has more just bad cards than a lot of the other classes, cards that are mostly useless all the time. And also has cards that only go in specific archetypes more than many of the other classes do. Mercury Hourglass, this is more of a like Silent or Regent card. Characters that want to take really relic rather, characters that want to take really long fights, but, you know, damage is good regardless. I think I'm going to go to the right here. I would like to take one more non-elite fight before I take an elite fight. So let's just take our card upgrade. Basically, because I want one more card to help out here. Stampede only costing 1 just saves us energy. You should almost always do the upgrades that save you energy. And this will let us play our Howl from Beyond for free pretty frequently, which is great. Then we'll go take this fight. This is a hard mode fight, but we do have Howl from Beyond in the deck. So if I just draw into that, then we'll be able to kill these inklets very quickly. Now, I am going to take 1,000,000 damage here because I drew no block at all. But let's go ahead and play Dominate, and I will play Rampage and Strike and kill one of the inklets, I guess. If I kill this one, I prevent the most damage. So I suppose it's still better to do that than to kill the other two, because this prevents 9 damage instead of just 8. And then here, Howl from Beyond finishes this fight off. So we took net 2 damage in that fight, which isn't bad. Alright, whenever you play Vulnerable, whenever you apply Vulnerable, draw 1 card. Well, we're doing that pretty frequently, so Vicious could be pretty good for us. And it upgrades to draw 2 cards, which could let us cycle through our deck a lot. Armament is one of my favorite cards for the Ironclad. When you get this upgraded, it upgrades your entire hand for the rest of the combat. So in any longer combat, it gets really powerful. Havoc, we don't have a way to manipulate the top card of our deck. This is obviously great if we can play Howl from Beyond off it, but I think we're just going to go with the armaments here because upgraded cards are really strong. Let's go take our event here. I do want the gold. I don't really want to lose 7 more HP though. So I think I'll just take the Sword of Stone, and basically this won't matter. The strength will eventually be good once we've fought 5 more elites. But at this point in the game, we're basically just passing on this tile. And I think we can take 1 more elite fight. Having Howl from Beyond, again, very good in this encounter, though drawing all our defends on the first turn is not. But Mercury Hourglass and Howl from Beyond are great finds here. So I can go... I have only damaging cards, so we're taking 20, kind of no matter what I do. So let's maximize our Dominate. It does mean that I'm losing out on buffing Rampage, but this way I can gain 6 strength this turn. And then hopefully kill the enemy pretty quickly. Let's start with Shrug It Off here. And then I can play Armaments, upgrading Howl from Beyond. And then I'll play Strike. Or... oh, no, wait. I messed up there. I miscounted my energy. So I wanted to guarantee Stampede hitting Howl from Beyond. As is, I'm just getting a 50-50 of hitting the Strike instead. I should not have played the Armaments. That was a mistake. Now, I got lucky, but obviously have to own up to when you make a pretty bad error like that. And then here, I'm going to kill this enemy. I can play my Defend here, and then I'll play a Strike on one of the ones that's going to be attacking. And then we didn't draw into Howl from Beyond, which is what I really want, but I can play a Shrug It Off here. And that's 11 block. We have 20 incoming damage, so I should at least play Armaments and Defend, and then Stampede will play Bash for free. So I'll play Armaments. I'll upgrade Bash, I think, rather than upgrading Defend, because we have enough block this turn. And basically, we're trying to minimize the damage we're taking until we draw Howl from Beyond, which I still haven't this turn, but I can prevent any damage by playing Rampage on the highest health enemy. I can play a Defend to block the infection damage, and we'll play Strike as well. So it is lucky that I won the 50-50, that put myself in a bad situation and had to win. But obviously, sometimes you're going to make mistakes. The question is what you do with it. Molten Fist is okay. We are doing a lot of vulnerable. I actually like Barricade quite a bit once you get it upgraded. Not removing block at the start of your turn, if you have a lot of cards like Shrug It Off, and then later, if you get things like Colossus, you can end up doing pretty good stuff with Barricade. Now, this deck, I don't know how much it wants the Barricade. We still need cards that exhaust things like Howl from Beyond. We still need more block in general as well. I think I'm probably just taking the Shrug It Off here, though Barricade is pretty cool. But this deck much more needs cards like Shrug It Off that just make us a little bit stronger than it needs things like that. We'll definitely set up the Stampede, and I'll do it in the right order this time. And then I can play Tremble and Dominate for +5 strength. And then we get a random card play here, but I wanted to get the +5 strength. And then this turn, I can go... do I want to play Armaments, or I can play Bash? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Strike, preventing the damage, and I'll play Armaments. So I have the choice here is it more damage to get the Vulnerable out first, or to play Bash for free and upgrade the Bash with Armaments? And I think that the answer is that it's going to be... because I can either play Strike and Armaments and let Bash get played by Stampede, or I can play Bash and let Strike get played by Stampede. I think this is better, because it puts it down to 2, and then we just win with Mercury Hourglass here. Alright, Pact's End. I actually really like Pact's End. We already have, how many cards that exhaust? Ascender's Bane exhausts, the... Tremble exhausts. I don't have another... Oh, no, and Dominate exhausts. So I already have 3, so we just have to cycle through our deck once to be able to play this card. And we'll probably add more ways to exhaust cards to the deck. So yeah, I'm going to take Pact's End here. I think this is a very strong card for the Ironclad in general. And then here I'm going to rest. The Ironclad will often need to rest because you do take a lot of damage in these fights. I probably could get away with upgrading, but I'm a little less... I'm just a little less confident on this character than I am on other characters, so I want to make sure I have the health that I don't die to the Ceremonial Beast. We'll cycle through here, and then I can play Tremble and Stampede. Get a free strike. And here, I can play Armament, upgrading Howl from Beyond. And then I'll play the Strike, guaranteeing that we play Howl from Beyond, and we'll accept taking 7 damage here. But we get a pretty big hit on the Ceremonial Beast. This turn, it's nice that I drew my cards in the right order, that I do get to play the Pact's End. And I think it's fine to just get 3 strength off the Dominate. I'm just going to play that this turn, and we'll play Defend. I'm also very glad that I rested here as well, because our block showed up at bad times, so we've already taken a lot of damage. Oh, no, actually, okay, we did enough damage to stun it. I didn't do the math there. I thought there was no chance of us doing enough damage to stun it, but as it turned out, there was. I'm going to play the Armament here. I really need to upgrade this so it hits every card in hand, but what do I want to try to play for free this turn? Bash, I can play for free. It's already vulnerable. So let's start with Shrug It Off. And now I don't get to play Armaments because we drew into Howl from Beyond, which I want to play off the Stampede. Which means I have to play the Bash and the Pact's End. But that's okay, because now we get to play a pretty big Howl from Beyond, and you can see the deck is really starting to come together already. I can only play 1 card this turn, so it's either do I want to block 8 damage, or do I want to do 25? I think we're fine to just block 8 damage here, and then also Stampede does count as playing a card. It works like that for Sly as well, where you will not get extra card plays during the ringing turn, even if you're getting them for free in some way. We'll play Shrug It Off here, and then I'll play Defend, and then I'm going to play Strike, and Howl from Beyond won't quite be lethal, so we'll take 3 more. And then we finish off this fight, and I would have survived even if I hadn't rested, so I could have an upgraded armaments in the deck. Something to keep in mind as I keep learning the character. Alright, some pretty interesting options here. Dark Embrace is pretty good if we're going for an exhaust function. Cascade, I like quite a bit, especially because we will end up with some fairly expensive cards in the deck. Pyre is very good if you have like a way to play it for free or extra energy generation off of Bloodletting or something like that to get it out early. But I think that the clear pick here is going to be Thrash. It can exhaust strikes out of the deck. It's super strong. It gets to be enormous amounts of damage. Just if you play it once, it's going to be like a 50 damage attack just off of one play. It kind of doubles the value of your strength. And, of course, it works with Howl from Beyond, because we can exhaust it, and then the Howl from Beyond will get played. And it'll get played back into the discard pile, so it'll give us something to repeatedly exhaust with Thrash. So that's what we're going to take here, and then we're going to move on to Act 2. Jumping into Act 2, let's see what we've got here. So, Pale's Horn, I think, is typically not amazing. Even for this character that can struggle with block, Relax, spending a full turn on 15 block is just not typically going to defend enough, and so it will cost you health to play this card. Pale's Tooth, I actually like Pale's Tooth quite a bit. It can be very good when you need extra upgrades, and you can do like a mix of weak cards and strong cards to upgrade your strong cards and to remove the weak cards from your deck for the next couple fights. I think that people like kind of misunderstand this relic, because I've seen a lot of people say it's really bad, but you can think of it as some temporary card removal, which is an advantage, and as a bunch of free upgrades, also a really strong advantage. But Pale's Blood, I think, is like one of the very top ancient relics in the game. Being able to just draw extra cards, no downside or anything, and just draw the cards you need, always going to be excellent. So whenever I see this, I'm pretty much always going to take it. Going into our pathing here. Now, after your first 2 hallway fights in Act 2, you start fighting enemies from the more difficult pool. Again, for the Ironclad, that's just much less of a problem than it is for other characters. So I'm not... I still would like to avoid taking too many of those, because we don't need too many more cards for this deck. We need to like upgrade and improve our cards. What I'm really looking for is a bunch of elite fights, because I would love to get my Sword of Stone upgraded this act. So if I could take 4 elite fights in a path, that would be great. It doesn't look like there's more than 3 on any of these paths, though. So, unfortunately, we won't have this until Act 3, which is why I think the Sword of Stone is mostly a blank relic most of the time. So, my options are... I also do want a shop, if I can get one relatively early, especially. But I think what we're going to do for our shop is we'll probably have to go to the right here. So I'm going to end up doing a path like this, take an upgraded fight, and then we'll just go through here, and then we can go and get a second elite or a second shop, depending on what we found up to that point. This path looks pretty good to me. Alright, the Thieving Hopper, this guy is always a challenge, but I should be able to... We're going to play our Strike for free. I guess I'll play Defend, and I'll just play the Dominate, and we'll take some damage here. It did eat our Howl from Beyond, which is unfortunate. I've exhausted 2 cards already, so if I play Tremble, I get to play Pact's End, so that's great. And I'll play Rampage. Well, I'm going to play Pact's End all the time. And we just get to play the rest of our cards regardless, so, which is lethal and just ends the fight anyways. Alright, well that was very quick. Sometimes the math on Ironclad is weirdly hard to do just because you're not used to winning fights in 2 turns. Energy Potion, always great, especially because we have Pale's Blood, so it's going to let me play all the cards that I get more often. Before you take your Stolen card back, you should always look at the other card. Whirlwind is very good. We're going to have a lot of strength, because we have our... we have Dominate, and we have the Sword of Stone, so for Act 3, we'll have a lot of strength. Pummel Strike is a core card for the Ironclad. It's a very rare Ironclad deck that doesn't end up with like at least one of these, because it lets you cycle through your cards much more easily. So I'm deciding between these two. I don't think we need another Tremble. This is actually a fairly difficult conundrum, but since I don't have extra energy generation, I think I'm going to go with the Pummel Strike here. And I will take Howl from Beyond back. Just getting to our key cards faster by drawing with Pummel Strike. It comes pre-upgraded, which is really nice. All of those are very powerful effects. Here, I can play at least one of these defends, and I can eat the Pummel Strike with Thrash, which isn't bad. So let's play our defend, and then I'll play... Am I going to try to do a second defend or try to kill all the enemies here? I think I'm just going to try to kill stuff this turn. So we get to do 9 damage twice, dropping the exoskeleton down low enough that we can kill it next turn. And we take 5, but we'll heal back 6. Now we are 1 short of killing it with just with our Mercury Hourglass. This turn, I don't have Stampede, and I do have 2 exhausted cards, so I can play Tremble, and that lets me play Pact's End for free. And that's 9 damage to all enemies, thanks to these enemies' unique effect. And then I guess Rampage and Strike just kills this before it does damage, so that's probably what we want to do. 12 incoming damage here, but we have enough damage to just kill it. Alright, we'll take a block potion, we're happy with that, and a second Stampede. It's a little more interesting because I have Pale's Blood, and that does work very well with multiple Stampedes, letting me cycle through pretty heavy attacks every turn, but the second Stampede's a lot worse than the first, because you're not guaranteed to have enough attacks in hand that you always get to play 2 with it. I think here I'm just going to skip. We've gotten almost I think 0 value out of Lasting Candy, because I have no powers in my deck. Well, I've got Stampede, but I don't believe that was a Lasting Candy card. Alright, upgraded Common Attack in exchange for the Energy or Block Potion. I think I'd rather keep the Energy Potion, so let's lose the Block Potion and see what we get. Twin Strike isn't awful for this character because we are generating a lot of strength. The Sword of Stone will eventually give us more. Perfected Strike, I've already removed one actual strike from the deck, but we do have Pummel Strike as well. We can play it for free off of Stampede. So I think this is probably what we're going to take. It's a pretty hefty amount of damage, and because we can play it for free, it's a little bit more powerful as well. Headbutt can be very good. We don't have... if we'd taken the card that lets us play a card off the top of our deck, then I'd be happier with it, but I think here an upgraded Perfected Strike is just a pretty powerful amount of damage overall. We've got a shop, but we're gonna get 2 more fights and a chest before then, so I can be pretty spendy here if I want to. All of these are good options as well. So I love, even the question mark anchor is just gonna basically work with Burning Blood to make it so you take way less damage every fight. Happy Flower, the question mark Happy Flower and the normal Happy Flower work very well together, because it means that on not quite half your turns, you're gonna have at least 1 extra energy. So I'm definitely buying this. The question is, am I buying Anchor? Am I buying Orichalcum? Am I buying the Mango? Probably not. And Snecko Eye. I do have a lot of expensive cards, but not enough to make the Snecko Eye good. I think I will buy the Anchor. and not the Orichalcum, because we have double Shrug It Off, so we're not going to end up with that many turns where we don't have any block. Alright, so here I have Pact's End, but I don't have enough ways to exhaust cards to make Pact's End good. To make it playable, I only have 2 cards that exhaust. Now, I do get a lot of strength here, and if I play Tremble and Dominate, I can... This is just a normal fight, not a random fight. I can Thrash exhausting Pact's End, and that will make my Thrash significantly better in future as well. But currently, I think what I have to start with is we'll play the Tremble. I can kill this enemy with Pummel Strike and Vulnerable and Dominate, right? So I'm going to play Tremble on the Bullbug, Dominate on the Bullbug, and then Pummel Strike, and that's enough damage because I increased my strength. So we kill 1 enemy here. Draw 2. Now, I was hoping to draw into some blocks so that I could use my energy potion to kill the... to deal with this guy in some way. Unfortunately, that's not the case, but I think if I use my energy potion, I deal 29 with Perfected Strike, or I can play Thrash for 18 plus 11 is 27. So no matter what I do, I'm taking a huge amount of damage this turn, so let's not worry about using our energy potion, because I can't kill anything. Here, we have 16 incoming damage, but now I have enough block that I can just stun this Bullbug. So we're going to play the Shrug It Off. I'll play Armaments, upgrading, I guess, just this Defend here. And then I'll play Stampede. And this enemy will get stunned this turn. $19 damage incoming this turn, but I have enough damage that I can kill it, and we have the extra energy. So let's go ahead and play Bash plus Rampage is enough. Strike, and Rampage. I would need to play both, because I want to kill this enemy this turn, of course. So I guess we'll just do Bash plus Rampage, and then we can play a Strike and play another one for free. And then finish the fight, get some of the health back that we lost. Here, do I want another Shrug It Off? Do I want a Molten Fist? Upgraded, I don't think I want a third Shrug It Off. They're good to have in the deck, but the more you add, the less your deck is composed of effects that actually progress the fight. Molten Fist is pretty interesting. It's a decent damage ratio. Doubling the enemy's vulnerable is good, and it could work, of course, with Dominate, but you have to draw those in a pretty specific order to make that powerful, so I think we're going to skip here, and I'm going to skip Sword Boomerang as well. Then I'm going to go to the campsite, and we'll upgrade, and I'm going to upgrade Armaments. Really high value upgrade, because it makes playing that card just really strong overall. And then I think we're pretty happy to take an elite fight here. Alright, well this is a kind of ideal elite fight for us, given that this deck has a lot of AoE damage, and we have an explosive Ampoule. Let's start by playing Pummel Strike. Well, I guess if I'm playing Dominate first, I should do that. But I think there's a good chance that I draw into another vulnerability effect. So I'm going to play the Pummel Strike, and we'll play it on the one that's hitting for the most. Now I could play Armaments and upgrade a bunch of stuff if I wanted to. So let's do that. We'll play Armaments, and I'm going to play Stampede. I definitely want that in play. I'm probably using my energy potion this turn as well. So I'll play Dominate on this enemy here. Use my energy potion, play the Defend, and then I can have Stampede either play Defend, I can play Strike, and then Stampede either plays Perfected Strike or plays Thrash, eating the Perfected Strike. Or I could just Perfected Strike, killing this enemy. I think that prevents the most damage, so let's just go ahead and do that. And then we're going to play one of these cards for free. Hopefully the Thrash, but if it's the Strike, no big deal. This turn, I want to set it up so that Howl from Beyond gets played. So let's play Shrug It Off here. And I drew into some more attacks. So given that, maybe I just prevent the most damage this turn by playing a bunch of Defends. And I can play another Defend and a Strike, or I can play Bash and get one of the Strikes played for free, most likely. This is 23 incoming damage, so we block all but 2 if I play the Defend here. And then I think we'll just play a Strike, again, on the lowest health enemy, because I want to reset their strength gain. And then this turn, I can play Tremble, and then we can play Pact's End, which is great. Oh, no, wait, because I hadn't played the Ascender's Bane yet, so I don't actually get the opportunity to play Pact's End, except Stampede can just play it for free. So do I want to play Shrug It Off? I guess I have to. So I'm going to play Shrug It Off here. I will play Rampage and Strike, because then Pact's End gets played for free. And that's going to be 19 damage. If I play the Explosive Ampoule, it's going to kill these 2. And then we can play Rampage and Strike on this enemy. And then Pact's End is going to finish this fight. So I used 2 potions there, but that fight was a little bit of an awkward ordering for us, so it worked out well. Stonecracker, not that important given that we have an Armaments Plus in the deck already, but still pretty nice. And then let's see what we get here. Drum of Battle, I do not like this card, unfortunately. In longer fights, this ends up being a really serious problem. And although 0 cost draw 2 or draw 3 once it's upgraded is very good, it's the downside of this is just too real. And I think none of these other cards are particularly interesting, so we're going to skip again. Bag of Preparation, one of the very best relics in the game, so we're thrilled to see that. And then let's go to the shop here and see what we get. Okay, so Stoke, this is kind of interesting. You can add a random card to your hand by exhausting something like Howl from Beyond. That said, I don't think that it's what we're going for, because adding a random card to your hand is just bad. Stone Armor, not exactly what we're looking for either. Another Howl from Beyond doesn't work because I don't really have a way to generate card exhausts yet. We're really looking for the one that exhausts cards and lets you draw cards. Nostalgia or Panache, I don't think we're interested in either. So let's just go ahead and remove a card. It does hurt my Perfected Strike if I remove a strike here, but I think it is still worth it just so I'm not drawing dead cards as often. And then do I want to add a Stone Armor or a Dominate to the deck? Stone Armor, not amazing for us, but a second Dominate I think is going to be pretty good. These obviously stack well together. Entomancer can be pretty dangerous. Now, we don't actually have any multi-hit cards in the deck currently, so we're lucky there in that we didn't add the cards that make this really challenging to the deck. We're going to play Armaments and upgrade everything. We'll play Stampede, and I'll go ahead and just play an upgraded Defend. Try to minimize our damage, and the Stampede is going to do a bunch. The enemy adds a Daze to our deck, but nothing we can do about that. Here, I'm going to play the Tremble, I'll play Shrug It Off, and I'll play Dominate. I am going to add 2 Dazes to the deck when I play this Thrash, but I think it is, and then another one when Stampede plays a card. But Thrash is so much damage that it's worth it here, and it depends on what it exhausts. It exhausted just a Strike, but now we get to play Perfected Strike for free. And if we just redraw into Thrash, then we just win the fight immediately. We'll play the Dominate here. Do I want to play Rampage and add 1 Daze? We already have 2 Dazes in the deck. I think Rampage and Strike means that we'll draw just 4 Dazes and Shrug It Off. I think that's a fine draw for next turn, so we'll just play our cards here. Because we can't avoid playing the strike. And then we have Thrash, and we win the fight. Alright, so fairly clean Entomancer fight, which is a pretty dangerous one for this character. Pantograph is great. That's going to let me upgrade instead of resting when we get there. Unrelenting can be very good. We can play, for example, Howl from Beyond off of it, or Perfected Strike, but it requires drawing those in the right order. So again, here we're skipping. Then I'm going to go to... I think we can do another elite fight. We have an attack potion as well, which will be pretty helpful. So let's go to an event here. I don't have a shop. Well, I could go to the right, so I could do resist here, but I don't have the gold to remove the normality, so I don't really want that. So let's do perfect fit. And what card would I like to redraw every time? There's a few cards that are really good to draw repeatedly in the deck. Things like Rampage. You can recycle and redraw it into it multiple times over. But I think we're going to go with Thrash. This is our strongest card overall, and redrawing it after we've played it once is ideal, because then you get maximum value from it. And then we're going to take an elite fight, because I need to take a bunch of elite fights to get our Sword of Stone going. 24 damage incoming this turn. Let's start with armaments and upgrade all our cards here. I don't have a way to make Pact's End work. So I'll probably just exhaust it with the Thrash, because I can exhaust one attack if I play Thrash, but let's start with the Shrug It Off, and we'll see what we draw. Tremble I'm definitely playing, and then Thrash will give me extra energy here. So I unfortunately do have to play this, because I can't play Dominate first, because we need to trigger the Vital Spark, unless I want to use my attack potion to do that. Do I want the attack potion against the Infested Prism? I think I want to keep the attack potion for the Knowledge Demon if possible. This isn't the most difficult fight for us, and we can play Thrash, and then I can play Dominate, gaining 5 strength. I think the Infested Prism fight should be relatively easy for this character, so I'd like to save my potion if possible. And then we'll just play some Defends and Stampede this turn. Oh, nice. We played into Pummel Strike there. And then we redrew Thrash, so you can see how powerful it is to be able to do that. Which cards do I want to play, though? So I am taking 30, because I drew no block this turn. So let's start with Dominate. And I'm always going to be playing the Thrash. Is there something I don't want to exhaust? I guess the Strike I don't want to exhaust. So I'll play that. I'll play Thrash, and that puts the enemy down to 48. Unfortunately, the Bash isn't enough damage, so I guess I need to use my attack potion here in order to avoid dying to this enemy. Pillage, we have all our defends left in the deck, so Pillage is pretty dangerous. So we'll just play a Pummel Strike here. And then, still just short of killing it? No, I have enough to kill it. Okay. Well, we had to use our attack potion to avoid taking a hit for 30. Obviously, that's worth doing. Block potion, a nice one going into the fight. Bronze Scales. I love this relic in Slay the Spire 2. There's so many enemies with multi-hits, it ends up doing just massive amounts of damage. Rupture, we actually have no way to lose health on our turn currently. This is a very strong card if you have cards like Bloodletting, things like that, but we have no way to lose health on our turn. So I think this is another skip. I will say we've gotten a little unlucky with our card rewards. This turn against the Obscura, we also had both our Happy Flowers go off this turn. So let's start with armaments. We'll upgrade everything, and then I don't have a way to put any... okay, I should have played Pummel Strike first, because I don't have a way to apply any vulnerability. But, so I could have upgraded the Dominate here, which would have been way better. If I'd played Pummel Strike and then Armaments, I'd have had one more upgrade. But I'll play that, and I'll play the Rampage, and I don't have Stampede in play currently, so we'll just play our Strike anyways. This turn against the Paraphrite, I'm going to play Shrug It Off, and then I want to play Tremble and Dominate, but probably I need to play... I could either play another Shrug It Off, preventing all the damage from the Paraphrite here, and then just play Thrash or something like that, or I could play Tremble, or I could play Dominate, getting some extra strength, and then play Thrash. That would be 7 damage twice, so it's not enough to kill the Paraphrite. No, because I can just make this vulnerable, so I can go Dominate and hit that. It is minimal strength, because I didn't use my Tremble before I played Dominate. But we prevent all the damage this turn, and get to set up for future turns as well. And we're buffing our Thrash, which is very important to this deck, of course. We'll play Stampede, and then I can Thrash killing this. I can Thrash for 32 to this. I can play Double Defend, which would block all the damage to from the Obscura. But I think we'll just Thrash here, and then we'll play a Defend, take 5. And then this turn, I have Pact's End, which can kill this enemy. So I can play Tremble on the Obscura. Pact's End here. And then do I have enough damage to just kill it? I do. Alright. Do I now have enough vulnerability application to make Vicious good? I think I do. We've got 4 cards that apply vulnerable in the deck. And one of them's repeatable in the form of Bash. And then I'll go here. I have Pantograph, so I don't need to rest. We can go ahead and do an upgrade. And I'll probably just upgrade Vicious so it draws 2 cards. The other option is upgrading Thrash. Or I could upgrade this Dominate. Upgrading Dominate is really important as well. But let's just upgrade Vicious so we can cycle through the deck faster. That's what makes that card actually good. And then we have our 1 potion going into the Knowledge Demon fight. Here, I don't have enough ways to exhaust cards to be able to play Pact's End. I'm going to play Pummel Strike first, because I think I'm always playing that, and then I'll play Armaments. And upgrade everything. Then I want to play Tremble or Thrash. Playing Thrash is very tempting here, because we can get a lot of extra damage output, but Tremble is going to make all of my Dominate draws much better, so I'm just going to play that here. I'm going to take the Mind Rot, because we have Pale's Blood kind of offsetting it, and this character doesn't really need the card draw currently. I can then use a Block Potion this turn. I don't have Stampede out yet, but we can play Dominate here, and Dominate again. And then I can play Defend, Block Potion, because it gives me maximum value, and we'll play Strike. Then this turn, I have Vicious, and we're just taking 27, I guess. Nothing I can do about that. But at least it takes 9 in return. Very happy to get the Stampede out. That's something that's very important to do. But let's draw with Shrug It Off. I was hoping to draw an attack for Thrash, but we drew all our defends this turn instead. So we'll just play those, and Thrash will get played for free. This turn, I can just play all my attacks. We'll go with Disintegration here, because we are going to be playing more than 3 cards every turn. Very similar to the Ringing effect that will prevent you from playing cards with effects like Stampede. And then, do I have enough to kill the enemy this turn? I've got Perfected Strike is a bunch of damage, Pummel Strike, and Bash. It's not quite enough, right? That's 48 plus 31 is 79. Plus Pummel Strike is 110. So we're we're just a little bit short, but let's play the Pummel Strike first and see what I draw into. Okay, with Pact's End, it looks like I do have enough damage to kill the enemy this turn, and I can set it up so that we're playing at least one of these cards off of Stampede, and there we go. And then a Duplicator Potion is great, and that was a pretty clean Knowledge Demon fight overall. Unmovable, I do like Unmovable. Juggernaut, I also like. Aggression, this is another really nice one. So actually, all of these powers I'm very happy with. Feed, it's a little late for Feed to be good, though this is very good if you get it early. What's the upgrade on Aggression again? It just becomes innate. So we basically redraw an extra attack every turn, which is really good with Stampede. I'm kind of regretting not taking the second Stampede, given the way that the deck has turned out. Juggernaut will be gaining block pretty frequently, so this is a lot of damage, but this isn't really the deck for Juggernaut. And Unmovable, when you upgrade it, this makes your blocking so much easier on the Ironclad. I think I'm going to take Unmovable here, though Aggression or Juggernaut are pretty interesting options, but it just means that you take way less damage overall. And jumping in for Act 3, let's see what we've got at the Ancient here. So Fiddle is actually kind of interesting. We do have Shrug-It-Offs that it deletes, but we don't have like a Battle Trance or any other of the Ironclad's premium draw cards. I could do Preserved Fog. The Folly is obviously pretty bad, but we have Bag of Preparation. And there are a lot of cards I wouldn't mind removing. Like, I could remove a bunch of strikes. I could remove strikes and defends. It, of course, would hurt my Perfected Strike to remove those. But with Bag of Preparation and Pale's Blood, the Folly is much less of a real downside, because it just takes one card out of our opening hand. But we don't have the energy to play all of our opening cards anyways. So Preserve Fog is pretty good. That being said, I think Jeweled Mask is going to be the way to go. Either Unmovable or Stampede are great cards to grab, great powers to grab early. And this, with Lasting Candy, we're fairly likely to get a couple others that we wouldn't mind playing for free at the beginning of the fight as well. So Jeweled Mask is just always going to be really strong for us. Looking at our pathing here, I do want to go to a shop, but this is a lot of fights to take. I also want to get an elite fight as quickly as possible, which it looks like is here at whatever floor number this is, 6 floors in. So I might go to the left here and take this elite fight, and I want an elite fight because we get the extra strength from the Sword of Stone. This path is basically the same. It's 2 events and 3 fights, but in a different order. I guess I'd rather have the events before the fights so that we get a little more control, but then we replace an event with a fight here. If I'm taking this path. So I guess the left-hand path is slightly better, and then we get to go to this shop, by which point we'll have enough money for a shop to actually be good, because right now we don't have that much gold. And then we get to decide if we're doing an event or an elite at the end of the fight. Or at the end of the run. So it looks like the left-hand path, 3 fights in a row, we're definitely going to take a lot of damage at the beginning of this act. But we should still be okay. Oh, right, Vicious is my other power. This one's a little less good to get into play right away, but it's still fine. So I will play the Vicious here. Turret Operator fights are really funny when you have the Thorns Relic, so we're always happy to have that. I'm going to play Armaments before playing Shrug-It-Off, because I do want to play I just want more block here. And with Thorns, we can win this fight pretty easily just by blocking. And then let's just play the other Shrug-It-Off, draw another card, and then I can play Thrash, I can play Dominate, I can play Rampage. I think I'm going to go with the Dominate here, giving myself the maximum amount of damage output for future turns. And then this enemy takes a bunch of damage here. So now I have unmovable, so I could play unmovable and double my block. I could play dominate to increase my strength. Let's just play the unmovable, and then we'll play 16 block. We're going to take some damage this turn, but enemy is just getting chipped away, and we got our power into play. And then here, I can go ahead and play Tremble and Pact's End, and that should be enough damage to kill the turret operator. I do want to play some block this turn, but let's start with Tremble. I'll play Pact's End. This enemy's down to 9 currently. So I'll play Defend here, blocking the living shield damage. I probably could have just killed it, actually. But I don't think it really matters what order I do everything in here. Let's play Stampede. And then I'm going to play a Strike, just killing the turret operator. We'll see what gets played here. Probably a badly played turn by me, but an irrelevant badly played turn because we took no additional damage there anyways. I definitely don't want Fight Me. We already have lots of strength generation. I don't think we need a third Shrug It Off, so we're just going to skip this card reward. Devoted Sculptor. We should be relatively fast at killing enemies. We did get Vicious as our power again, unfortunately, which is the one we definitely don't want. Dominate applies 1 vulnerable, but I'd like to be able to draw into more. I can Armament first as well. So let's start with Pummel Strike. It gives up the damage from Dominate if I do it in that order, though. So I think rather than get the extra upgrades, I'm just going to do Dominate here. And then I'll play Stampede, which I suppose is better to play than one of my attacks specifically, because then we get future value off of that. 15 damage incoming from the enemy this turn, so we're going to take 5, but we can play Tremble. Oh, yes, I don't have to take 5, because I had Vicious, which I keep forgetting about. I need to remember that I have that card. I'll play the Dominate here for some extra strength, and to draw some more cards. And then we can play Shrug It Off for 14 block. I'll just play a Defend here. And I'll play my Strike, and then we'll play something for free off of Stampede. Perfected Strike, pretty good card to play for free there. And then this turn, I've got my Thrash, which I can hit for 21 damage twice. So I'll play the Rampage first, and then Thrash will win the fight. Rupture doesn't really do anything. I definitely don't need a second Vicious. Ashen Strike, we were kind of going for an Exhaust deck, but we ended up not in that spot, so we're just skipping again here. And then we're going to go to this encounter, and this is going to be from the harder pool of enemies, because it's after our first 2 encounters. Alright, Unmovable, that's the power we really wanted to get into play here. Unfortunately, these enemies do have artifacts, so we aren't going to get as much value off of our Dominates in this fight. But I can still play Stampede, and I think I'll just play the Tremble on the Punch Construct anyways. And then I'm going to pass on playing the Vicious in order to get Dominate out there, because I do want to get 2 strength. I also want to exhaust 2 cards, so I can play Pact's End. Maybe I should have exhausted another one in some way. I guess by playing the second Dominate, I could have played Pact's End. So I should have thought about that a little bit more as well. Here, I am going to need to use a potion in order to avoid taking too much damage, because I want to kill the Punch Construct this turn. We can deal 15, it has 30 health, I can deal 15, or I can deal 12, 12, 12, 12. That's enough to kill it. I guess taking 20 is fine here, so we're just going to play our 3 strikes, play our Defend, and take only 10, because I had the extra energy. And then we'll play Bash for free. Taking 10 doesn't really matter this turn, and then I can go with Shrug It Off for 16 block, or for 22 block, which is almost enough to block everything. And then I'm going to play the Pummel Strike, and I'll play Thrash, because I do want to get my Thrash in play here. Howl from Beyond, a pretty good one to cast for free. I really wish that I had gotten a way to exhaust the Howl from Beyond, though. We still have an opportunity to get that. Duplicator, I think, is going to be a little better than Power Potion. So we will just go ahead and draw here. And I will add a second Pummel Strike to the deck to cycle through a little faster. And we'll skip the potion. Then we'll go to the event. Defend and Strike getting upgraded, brutal. Also, getting a random hallway fight, and it's this one, the Scrolls of Biting, which is by far the worst one for us. Really bad. That being said, if I use my Duplicator, I get to play Howl from Beyond for free and kill one of them. I'm going to play the Vicious here. If I play Dominate, I get 2 Strength, which makes this do 18 damage twice over, which is 36, which is enough to kill everything. So yeah, so I'm going to play Dominate here. And it is lucky that I had the extra Happy Flower energy when we got this fight, but we're going to use our Duplicator, double cast Howl from Beyond, and pass that fight. Very satisfying to win that fight, which I was very worried about when we saw it initially, without any trouble. I don't mind Stone Armor when you upgrade it, but we have our Jeweled Mask, so I don't want to add like 1-cost powers to the deck unless they're really good for us. So True Grit could be okay if I can arrange it so it exhausts Howl from Beyond, but I think we're just going to skip here. Duplicating my deck isn't actually crazy for this deck, because doubling up on Perfected Strike makes the Perfected Strikes super strong. And we would be doubling multiple Pummel Strikes and a bunch of random strikes as well. Doubling Dominates, they all feed off each other, so that works well. A second Stampede would be nice. I still think we're going to go with Downgrade 2, Upgrade 4, because this is so powerful. But this is actually a spot where Shatter is kind of interesting. Downgrading my Stampede is pretty bad, but we upgraded Unmovable, so I'm moderately happy with that anyways. I do wish that that stayed on the screen a little longer, because I didn't see everything that I downgraded. We downgraded Stampede and... was it a Dominate? I think it was, yeah, one of my Dominates I downgraded. We upgraded a Shrug It Off, Pact's End, Howl from Beyond, and Unmovable. That's not bad. And then here, I will still get to upgrade at least one card. I want to upgrade my Stampede again, but let's go take the Elite fight. We have plenty of health, and we want to get the Sword of Stone, of course. Getting our unupgraded Stampede as our free power is great, because it costs 2 to play it. The Soul Nexus is going to deal a lot of damage to me. Let's play on the first turn, let's play the Vicious, and then I can play Tremble. And I can play Armament, upgrading my whole hand. I could play Shrug It Off to block more damage. I'm going to use a Power Potion as well, because I think I will want a Power Potion. And Stone Armor will probably prevent a decent amount of damage. Dark Embrace I don't need, really. So let's just play the Stone Armor, and we'll prevent a little bit more damage this turn. And then, although I would love to upgrade this hand, it's not that important, so I'm just going to play Shrug It Off here. Nice that the Rampage is what got played. And then this turn, I don't have a way to exhaust a card currently, but I can play Unmovable and then Shrug It Off, blocking all of the incoming damage. And then I'll play the Pummel Strike, and we'll see what gets played here. Pact's End, not bad. This turn, I can play Thrash, I can play Rampage. I currently have no block of any kind, so I do need to draw some block. So let's start with the Dominate. It's +2 strength, and we're drawing into a blocking card, in this case, Defend. It also lets me play Pact's End, which I will do. I'll then play Pummel Strike, because I want to draw into a better blocking card, and we drew Shrug It Off, which is perfect. And then I can play Armament, or I can play Upgraded Defend. I think taking 3 more in order to get the extra upgrades is worth it here. And then I have Shrug It Off. So I can play my Dominate first and draw a couple cards, and we'll see what we get out of that. And then I'll play Shrug It Off for 22 block. I'll play the Defend here and keep on blocking. And then I can play another Defend. That seems fine. We'll just play one more Defend. Enemy will take a bunch of damage, and I'm going to hopefully have the damage to kill it this turn. And indeed we should. So I'll play Pact's End here and Thrash. And there we go. We got our Power Potion back. Bellows, that's pretty nice given that I don't have any of my Dominates upgraded. So that's going to upgrade all of our cards that we draw first. And this works extremely well with Bag of Prep and with Pale's Blood. Do I want a Cascade or a Body Slam? I think I don't really want either of those. Cascade is good if you have no card draw and lots of ways to generate energy, but this deck has the opposite. So we're just going to go ahead and skip here. And notably, we now have the Sword of Jade, where every combat we start with 3 strength. Pocket Watch can be good. There are turns where we're going to play 3 or fewer cards. And then let's go take this Elite Fight. We'll definitely play the Stampede, of course, and this enemy has a bunch of artifacts, so we're not going to be able to put a lot of vulnerable on it. I am going to use a Power Potion, because this is a tough fight, so I want to use a potion here. And I could take Cruelty. We will be trying to put vulnerable on the enemy. That's pretty good, but I think just Juggernaut is going to help us kill this enemy fastest. Let's also play Pummel Strike first. Trying to draw into some better cards. In particular, I want to draw my Unstoppable so I can actually block a bunch of this damage. We didn't, but I'll play my Upgraded Defend here. It's nice that it comes in 2 instances, so we get 2 Juggernaut triggers as well. And then I'll play another Upgraded Defend, and then I'm going to just play the Shrug It Off as well. Just block all the damage, we'll play a card for free. We removed 1 artifact, which is pretty nice there as well. This turn I am just going to use Tremble and Dominate. We don't get any value out of them, but it gets them out of the deck, it exhausts cards, so we can play our Pact's End as well. And then we'll play Strike, so we get one of our higher damage cards played for free. Nice to get the Unmovable into play here, and then I need to play at least some block for the 4 burns. Let's play Armaments. That's enough block. I guess I'm passing on playing the Vicious, though, because I do want to get Thrash out here. Oh, wait, no, I didn't have another attack in hand. For some reason, I was thinking that one of these cards was an attack, so playing the Thrash there was pretty bad, because I need an attack to actually exhaust to make it worth spending my time playing it there. Here, I'll start with Shrug It Off for the most block. And then I'll play the Defend. Either way, it's 22 block. And then I guess I'm just playing another Defend. What do I want to Thrash? Probably just the Strike. So I'll start with Pummel Strike, and we'll see what we draw into. And I'm happy to Thrash any of these. We'll play Pact's End. I'd rather keep that in the deck. And then I can play Rampage. Oh, miscounting again. So, played Thrash for free, which is fine. But I miscounted my energy there. I need to focus up. It's a little harder to make these plays to like remember all of the just basics when you're playing a class that you don't have as much experience with. Would have loved if Howl from Beyond was the free play there, but it's obviously fine either way. We do get to play our Dominate this turn, which is nice. So I can actually make the enemy vulnerable and gain some strength. And I played Dominate first because I already had plenty of cards in hand, so I actually don't want to draw, because we could draw into too many burns, stuff like that. I have 5 burns in hand, so I guess just playing the armaments here is fine, and then I'll play Pummel Strike. We'll take 2 damage from burns, but we get to do a bunch of damage to the enemy here. And then we win the fight. Alright, so not a clean fight by me at all. Mazalith's Gift, really nice potion. I'm definitely going to keep that for the end fight. We'll take the extra HP, that's great. And then I have talked a lot about how I want another Stampede, so thrilled to find one, and we'll pick it up immediately. And then I'm going to go here. I can remove the debt at the shop, which I am probably going to. So I guess I'll do the payment plan here, because 6 divinations is also pretty nice. No, I instantly hit another curse. Oh, so brutal. Okay, well, the debt is probably the one that's staying in my deck. Trying to get the artifact if I can, but I guess we'll take the rare card here, and then I'll take a potion as well, and we'll take 1 more card reward. So I got some gold. I got the potion. Is that better than Swift Potion? It is. And we'll see a rare card reward. Do I want a Juggernaut? Do I want Hellraiser? Hellraiser is pretty interesting for this character as well, because we have Pale's Blood. It does make my Stampedes worse, because they won't always have something to play. I think I'm actually interested in the Juggernaut, and we'll add a card to the deck here, and I'm definitely going to take Bloodletting. It works very well with all of my Pummel Strikes, so we're pretty happy with that. Then I now really have to go to the shop to remove at least one of these curses from the deck. So sad that we're going to be doing that. All right, well, we'll play the Vicious for free. We'll play Unmovable. And then Defend is going to be a bunch of block. So I'm definitely playing that. I have... Do I want to play the Aerobic Acid? We have 24 block this turn, so I don't think I really need to. I'm just going to play Tremble here. Okay, well, we drew into Bloodletting, so now I can play a couple more cards. And we'll play Dominate. And I could play the Stampede. Unfortunately, it's not upgraded, so I could also just do Dominate and gain even more strength. Let's just do that. And then Armaments will let me upgrade the Stampede for later turns and be able to play it, which is kind of nice. So I will do the Armaments, and then I can play Pact's End for free, because I've already exhausted 3 cards. Alright, so that worked out pretty well. Now, we do get Weakness added to us, which is very painful, of course. This does make all of my curses ethereal, the Spectral Knight, so I actually don't want to kill the Spectral Knight this turn. Maybe I shouldn't have put damage on it. It doesn't really matter if I redraw the debt, though, I suppose. Let's start with the Defend. Doing 16 block, and then I am going to kill the Spectral Knight this turn, because although it will no longer etherealize the debt, it also won't etherealize a bunch of other cards that I care a little more about. And it prevents me from taking a bunch of damage. So I'll play Shrug It Off here, and then I'll play Rampage, killing it. Lose my 10 gold. It does, the Magi Knight does remove the temporary upgrades that Armaments gave, though we can put them back even before the Magi Knight dies. Here I have Thrash for 36 damage, and then if I do that and then play Pummel Strike, I can kill the Magi Knight. It means taking a big hit, though. I can also just play Shrug It Off here. I can potentially arrange Thrash to exhaust Howl from Beyond, but it means giving up on a No, I don't actually have Stampede in play. So let's go ahead and play a Pummel Strike, and then I'm going to play Thrash, exhausting Howl from Beyond, which is great. And then we'll play a Defend, lose 10 more gold, and then we play Howl from Beyond for free, and then we win the fight. Alright, so we saved most of our health. Orichalcum I do like having in the deck. Flame Barrier, this is a card I really like in general. It, like I mentioned with Bronze Scales, Thorns are just really good in Slay the Spire 2. This is Temporary Thorns, and it's a lot of block. If you have the Unstoppable in play, it's 32 block for 2 energy. So we're going to take an upgraded Flame Barrier. Then we're going to go to the shop here. I'll try to remove one of my curses. Strike Dummy is pretty good. We have a lot of cards containing Strike, so that's actually a lot of extra damage for us. But we're definitely removing the Doubt here. I don't care about the Debt as much anymore, but having random weakness showing up is pretty bad. Oddly Smooth Stone is pretty good. Burning Sticks I could take. It does give me like doubled Dominates, which is pretty nice. Drinking some water and thinking about it. Oddly Smooth Stone is always good. I have 2 good potions already, so I don't need those. And we're just going to take the event rather than the elite fight. So do I want to try to burn it down a little faster with Strike Dummy or block a little more with Oddly Smooth Stone? I think we'll just take the Strike Dummy. We have enough strikes in the deck and cards containing Strike that's just pretty good. And then we're going to go here. Come on. Another fight? Oh, well. We do have the Pantograph, so we can still probably get away with upgrading. We'll play Stampede, and then I will play... I have no card draw in hand currently, so we'll play the Armaments first. Not that that matters, because we upgraded our opening hand anyways. We'll play Tremble, we'll play Defend, and do I want to play Bloodletting? I probably should. So I'm going to play the Bloodletting, play Vicious, play Bash, drawing 2 cards. This hand I played super badly also. I just forgot that I had the Vicious in hand there. Alright, so this turn I can gain 7 strength from Dominate and draw 2 cards. So let's start with that. And then I'm going to play Unmovable into Shrug It Off, which should be some pretty good block. This is 22, this is also 22. I want enough damage to kill this Stab Bot, but I can also just try to block all the incoming damage, and Rampage isn't quite enough, so I'll just play this Shrug It Off as well, and that blocks all the incoming damage. We play a Strike for free. Fabricated Bot dies, and the enemy does make another one. Perfected Strike hits for 37. My 2 Pummel Strikes hit for a lot as well. So let's go ahead and play Pummel Strike, and Thrash, and that wins the fight. Alright, and we maintained enough health that it's not a big deal, even though I messed up that fight pretty badly. Do I want the Aerobic Acid or the Dexterity Potion more? The Random Power for free is pretty good. Random Attack and Skill can junk up the deck. But I don't care that much about junking up the deck against the test subject, so I think I would rather have this in order to burn through the first stage pretty fast than the Dexterity Potion. Although Dexterity Potion does last the entire fight, so I guess Dexterity is a little bit better. And then Expect a Fight. We have a lot of attacks, so this is a way that I could get a bunch of energy in my opening hand. I don't need a 3rd Stampede. I think I will just skip again here, though. Because there's no guarantee that we have enough energy to make Expect a Fight good. And then we're going to be full health before we face the boss, so I can go ahead and upgrade. I will upgrade my Dominate over the Stampede. We'll find a turn to play the Stampede, and just getting the maximum amount of strength gain from Dominate, because this fight goes in 3 stages, I think is going to be the most important thing. Alright, so both of my potions are just used at the beginning of the fight potions, because we're on Ascension 9, so we're only fighting the one boss. We'll play our power, and another power. This enemy gets stronger as you play skills, so I want to be careful with the number of skills that I'm playing, but I also do want to get a bunch of vulnerability on the enemy here. I don't have my Vicious in play, so let's start with Shrug It Off, and we'll see what... that means we won't take damage, and we'll see what we're drawing into. And then I can take some damage, I can just play Pummel Strike, but let's just get the Tremble out here. I don't mind exhausting Tremble on the first phase of this enemy. It does mean that we won't have vulnerability as easily on the later phases, but we'll hopefully have maximal strength from our Juggernauts by doing it in this order. Or our Dominates, rather. Alright, and then this turn I am going to play Dominate, gaining a bunch of strength. Am I going to play Pummel Strike first? That does cost me some strength, but maybe we draw into another Dominate, maybe we draw into Vicious. I think it's fine to just play the Dominate first. Then I'm going to play Pummel Strike, drawing a bunch of cards. Or do I just want to play Stampede and defend, and either I play Thrash... I could also just Thrash, exhausting Pummel Strike, play Stampede, play Thrash, then we don't get value off Stampede, we take 25, but that's okay. Because upgrading my Thrash is one of the easiest ways to win this fight quickly as well. So let's just do that. I would prefer not to exhaust the Pummel Strike. There's other cards I would rather exhaust. Obviously, Howl from Beyond is the favorite. But it's fine to do that, I think. And then here I can just play my 2 strikes, and we have our Ascender's Bane getting exhausted. No need to play Howl from Beyond, because the enemy's dead this turn. Well, it's getting played for free anyways, but no need to, like, Bloodletting or anything. Alright. This turn, I can play Armaments, and that's pretty nice. Do I want to play Shrug It Off first? It's less block in this order, but we get to upgrade our Shrug It Off for the rest of the fight. And then I will play the Shrug It Off. And I'm going to play the Vicious. I'm going to wait on the Dominate, I think. Because, yeah, and I don't need the second Stampede in hand. So I'd rather have Vicious in hand this turn. I will get a wound because of the ordering that I did here, or the lack of block that I had. So we are getting 1 wound in the deck. This turn, I can play Bash, but we definitely want to play Flame Barrier. And doubling the block from Flame Barrier blocks most of the incoming damage. And then I can do the rest of it with just the 1 defend. So I'm going to play Bash and draw 2 cards here. We get to play Pact's End for free, and then we'll play Defend. We're going to play 1 card for free off of Stampede, and then block all the incoming damage. Oh, okay. Well, our card was the Thrash. So we've upgraded Thrash, which is great as well. Everything in this hand is upgraded, so let's start by blocking all the damage. The enemy's intangible this turn, so I'm just going to play Shrug It Off. I can try to draw into Bash before I play Dominate, but let's just play the Dominate. We'll just get 2 more strength, that's fine. Then I definitely want to play... I have Stampede playing Perfected Strike or Howl from Beyond. I think it is worth using the Bloodletting. No, the enemy's intangible, so I took some damage there for no reason, but it's fine to just play all these cards out. We get 1 damage. Here, we'll start with Shrug It Off. And then I'm going to play Stampede, and I'm going to play Thrash. And we'll take some hits, but we got to play Thrash, and then we get to play Pummel Strike and Strike, and the enemy's down to 11. Can I do 11 instances of damage this turn? I don't think I can quite do it, but we can come pretty close, right? We can play Armaments here. That's 1. I can play these 2 Enchanted Defends. That's 4 more. So I guess we'll just play the Bash and draw a card here. And then I'll play Rampage. Howl from Beyond. And then this turn we get to kill the enemy. So definitely some mistakes. Obviously still learning the character. And I made some sequencing errors throughout this run. Not the, like, best played run, but I think that the deck came together really well. I really liked having Stampedes into Thrash. Pact's End was incredible. One of the sickest cards, I think, for the Ironclad. The Howl from Beyond stuff never really worked out, but the good thing about this is that 3 for 21 to all enemies, or 16 unupgraded, is okay in some cases, regardless. I mean, with the duplicator, it got me through the Biting Scroll fight without dying at all. And so that's really nice. We had Thrash to potentially exhaust it, though that never really happened. But we also had Stampede, so there's some, like, alternate conditions for activating Howl from Beyond, even if you don't end up with cards that easily exhaust the Howl from Beyond. Unmovable was very good. The Dominates were great. I think this card is super strong, and I think that the Vulnerable plus Strength deck is kind of the Ironclad's go-to deck currently. Having a couple Shrug-It-Offs was pretty nice. The early enchantment, the Adroit enchantment, was great. The Perfected Strike we could probably have not put in the deck, but it was pretty good in some cases. So overall, I'm pretty happy with my deck building, even if I made some mistakes during the actual play. Let's go ahead and fight the Architect here. And there we go. That is my first Ironclad run on Ascension 9. I'll, of course, be back with Ascension 10 runs with this character as well. And I really like the changes to the Ironclad. I think it's made it so much more fun to play than just using infinite combos basically every run. As always, my friends, if you've enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a comment and hit like. Helps me out with the algorithm, so I appreciate you taking the time to do that. And of course, you can subscribe to my channel for more Slay the Spire 2 and other strategy game analysis. Cheers, folks. I'll catch you next time.